Hey dropshippers, how are you? So, in the past videos, I've been talking about how eBay dropshipping has changed in the past years and how probably the best way to scale your business is to start by doing dropshipping on eBay, possibly from retailers. You don't have to do it from retailers if you don't want to go against eBay's policy, but if you do prefer to start with something that is very simple, then I always tell about how simple, and I show how simple it is to start with eBay dropshipping from retailers. But then, if you don't want to go in a dark hat way, in a way that will throw you into illegal path, then my suggestion is always start looking for other ways to create more channels of income, to create more ways to increase your business that is not only eBay drop shipping from retailers. And because I said that I said in my videos that I'm going to go on that journey and start interviewing experts, I brought a really cool expert today, Reco Bell. Welcome to the channel for the first time on the DSM Tool channel. And I prepared some questions for you, but before I'm starting with the questions, how are you, man? How are you today?
Yo, hey, Kavir, hey, what's going on, man? Thank you for having me here. Things are going pretty well over here in Philly. We're still on the lockdown, so to speak, but things are right. Amazon's been booming ever since the whole C-19 thing that's been happening. With the pandemic, and I've been loving it. Business has never been better. It's like Q4, except all the time now. It's fantastic.
That's beautiful. I hear it again and again. It's beautiful to hear it, and we're gonna get to that because you're an expert for Amazon dropshipping. But before we're gonna get to that, I want to talk about you because there is a specific reason why I asked you to come on this channel. There is something very truthful and real about you that I really like, and at the same time, there is also the fact that you seem to really like good-looking cars and you're an online influencer, and in this industry these fancy cars are often being used and being used just for the purpose of increasing the conversion of the people that are supposedly driving those cars to show wealth and to show, hey, I made a lot of money, so I have a nice car, so that this is why you should, for example, buy my course or anything of that sort. And my question for you is in when, as someone who also likes nice cars, what do you think is the responsibility of influencers that are going online and want to teach how to start an online business? To what extent is the responsibility when it comes to how to use fancy stuff, fancy items, fancy cars?
Oh man, we have a massive responsibility to tell people how we got there. And like you mentioned before, a lot of people do lead with the fancy cars and the private jets and all that. But what people don't really see is that the cars are rented, the private jets are rented, they have like 10 people coming along, the yachts are rented, all this stuff just rented. It's rare that a good majority of the people own those things. Like, so when people see me, they're like, you actually own your cars? I'm like, I've owned them for a long time. And it's due to the fact that it wasn't just all drop shipping money, guys. Like, I'm a software engineer. I had a full blown career. I went to college. I was in the military prior to that, and I was able to leverage my income to grow to the level where I could afford really nice cars. Now, granted, yeah, my business paid for a lot of it, but in order to get my business to where it is today, I, went to school, became a software engineer, and used that money to grow those businesses. And in turn, 10 years later, guys, things, panned out. Like, have I been driving nice cars for the last few years? Yeah, but it took, like 7 years to get to that point, and it was a lot of hard work. We have to make sure that you guys understand that you understand you're not going to be rich overnight, and that it does take a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of skill, and it takes a lot of patience to get to this level.
Yeah, and I have to admit, as a software company who was one of the most viral software companies in the world, no matter what is your industry, you are with software that is going by itself viral completely and being taught in all of the schools, we made our income from it, but I don't go out today and just buy nice cars to show you and say, hey, I could easily do that and then get a nice car and then tell everyone, hey, so eBay dropshipping, look what a nice car. But I think that it's really within our responsibilities. I think that this is the point. In our responsibilities, that this is an important point. In our responsibility as people who are talking online about doing business online, it's great to talk about the game, show your cars if you own them, rent cars if you have enough money to rent cars, whatever. But also explain the risk. Explain to the people that are investing the money that that the process that they are going to go through is not only not necessarily going to work, but most likely in high percentages is problematic. Is you know, it's like it's simple statistics. You're a software engineer, so you understand. Uh, I guess you studied some courses in statistics when you went to university, and the statistics are very simple. It's impossible that everyone that are starting eBay dropshipping, Amazon dropshipping, building funnels, Shopify dropshipping, etc. It's almost impossible that a high that the majority of people will become very very rich out of it or even become rich out of it. You can make an income. There are a lot of things that you can do, but among the statistics, so if this screen is the bell of the statistics, where are you going to fall? Are you really going to be in the 5% of people that are going to make millions? Not necessarily. So what has been working for other people that you see online is not necessarily something that is going to work for you. There are so many factors that goes into making money and to build your income. How much money did you previously have? Did you have the chance to build a career in, for example, software engineering, so you could start from a point where you have enough capital to invest that capital into your business? Someone that has already capital, like I've met in my life people that had millions of dollars in their bank account and were able to put that money in something that is called family office, which is an office that manages that invest your money in the stock market, and they would get the money. That would be passive income for them, because that would make the office, the family office would make enough money, yield enough, how it's called, enough return on the investment, so they could spend their money on a monthly basis. They didn't need that much, so they could live off of that and do whatever they want. So there are so many parameters that goes into the game of building your business that it's so important for me that people would understand that the only way to do it is step by step. And this is what I love about your content and your channel, your YouTube channel, and your messages. And I see the Instagram stories that you post. You're so realistic with people. You tell them go step by step. And I think that it's a responsibility for all of us, all of the people that are talking about online business. I personally can't see it. It drives me nuts to see how people are being deceived into easy money, make it become rich super fast. You don't become, the only way to become rich really, really, really fast is from to get, like, how is it called when someone
The
from your
lottery.
family dies and then
Or
say it
life
again?
insurance. The lottery or life
No,
insurance.
a lottery. No, or when parents die, they give their kids, how is
The
it called?
inheritance.
Exactly, inheritance. That's the only way to really, really get super rich, really, really fast.
Yeah.
Everything else, especially if you see an advertisement online that tells you start an online business, you will have to build it step by step, and there will be so many parameters. You have to build a team in order to have I own the company of 35 people. You have to build a team. You have to learn how to do that. You have to. Anyway, the point is that you have to go step by step. So if you guys are sitting alone at home listening to this and you're starting a drop shipping business, then take it step by step. That's the point. And this is why this was so important for me to ask you that from the beginning. But I want to move to the next question. So I want to hear a little bit about your story, because as you said, Amazon dropshipping today is your main business. And it seems I did a bit research and I saw that one of the things that you shared is how much on your YouTube channel is how much money are you making from YouTube. And I know that it's not much, but it does talk about other channels of income. So how many parallelly, and also where did you start from? Like, how did you build it step by step into having all of the things that you own today?
Oh man, so dude, let's start from the beginning. So a lot of people don't know that I was in the military, but I was in the Air Force for for a number of years, and then I got out, was honorably discharged, the whole nine. But during that time frame, I didn't make a lot of money, and I had to figure out how to provide for my kid. At the time I only had my son. I was a young dad. I was like 20, 21. I didn't know what to do. I'm trying to make ends meet. So I started flipping free things on Craigslist. Now, granted, it didn't give me a ton of money right off the bat. I'd make a few $100s each weekend, but I took that money and I, started putting that into cell phones, like cell phones and electronics. And then I started flipping those. And then I got a laptop, and I'm a big car guy, as Kafir mentioned. And I started tuning cars. I started tuning Hondas. So now I could charge people for my service. So I created a service-based business, and I'm like, hey, I can charge you $300 to tune your Honda, which gave me more capital. So now I can charge a higher profit, and it only cost me my time as opposed to driving around base trying to get products. And then I took that money, got into drop shipping on eBay, and I'm like, man, this isn't necessarily for me. I did it, for about half the year. I was like, this is okay. And then I jumped over to Shopify, because you have to have money for Shopify to run ads. And, I got pretty good with that. And I started building out websites for people. And I ended up finding Amazon through that. One of the guys I built a website for, he didn't have the money for ads, right? I finished the project for him. He's like, all right, how I'm going to make some money? I'm like, you got to run ads. He's like, well, how do I do that? And I'm like, okay. And I tried to explain it to him. He's like, dude, I don't have any money for that. I was like, what do you think was going to happen? Well, I just thought you built a website and magic happens. I'm like, that's not it. So with Shopify, you can create a like store on Facebook and on Amazon. People didn't know that. So I was like, I'll just create a like store on Amazon and put these products in there, and everything will be fun. And that's what happened. Well, I woke up the next morning and I'm like, oh, I sold something. That's weird. Okay,
Was
I'll
it
fill
on
this order.
Amazon?
Yeah, on Amazon. And from there, I just kept refining my processes, and I'm like, okay, this is what works, this is what doesn't. And now 6 years later, this is where I'm at. But along the way, people local, people I've known for years, they were like, man, you're doing pretty good on this whole Amazon thing, teach me. So I had people come over, and they'd be sitting in my living room. I'm trying to have masterminds and all that. And I'm like, yeah, this doesn't work. I was like, this is terrible. I'm like, I got to figure out how to teach people without actually having them come to my house. So I created my first YouTube channel, the Two Dudes Dropshipping. I don't really do too much with that anymore, but I created my first channel, and, had to create a course and stuff. And, so like, obviously you get YouTube revenue, and that's the thing, like my YouTube revenue isn't that much, I mean, now it's like $150 a month, because my new channel is very small. But, there's still money I don't really have to work hard for. I create content, put it out there, have fun doing it, and there you go. And the course, kind of fell into its own, where, I make a few $1,000s each month off that. I don't really promote it as much, because I like selling on Amazon, and that's my primary source of money. Like that's what makes me my cash. So, why focus on selling the course if the majority of my money is coming from actually selling on Amazon? And, and at that point, people started asking me to run their accounts. This is, they had asked me prior. So I was running friends' accounts, I'd say like 3 years ago. And then, people started seeing me more on social media, and they're like, hey, do you run accounts for people? I'm like, oh, well, I mean, I'll run yours, but you got to pay me. And, now people, pay me to run their accounts, and, I get a little profit split from them, and there you go. So, I mean, ultimately, my lifestyle has ballooned in the last, well, I can't say balloon, but, my income has ballooned really. And I'm working on a software project myself, but it's not any kind of e-commerce related. It's all related to social media, actually. And that should be done in the next couple of weeks. So I'm hoping to push that out, and that really, take off about a year or so from now. But yeah, man, like, overall, you can bring in, I'm living proof. You could go from nothing.
That's insane. These are so many
30, 40K.
These are so many channels of income. And what I love about it is that it's true. Okay, so obviously you have a main channel of income, and the income spreads between different like activities that your different businesses are doing. But the fact that you have so many channels of income diverses the risks, because if one of them is going to get hurt, first you still have income from other channels. So think about the unemployment rate that just went up in April and people lost all of their income. You might not lose all of your income by diverting and having, and this is like, in if you invest in stocks, then you would know, like people that invest in stocks, they try to diverse their risk. So it's the same thing. Having multiple channels of income diverses your risk. Plus, they're all complementing each other, because by doing Amazon dropshipping, you're able to talk about Amazon dropshipping in your channel. You're able to give it as a service when you manage people's accounts, right? It's kind of a done for you service, and and then in those accounts you learn better how to run your own dropshipping business, and in the comments of your YouTube channel you're learning better for, like, everything is feeding everything. And this is the beauty of great. You're like a one-man corporates, big corporates. That's what they do. They have their core activities, and around them they're building other activities. They're building sort of an ecosystem of different activities that will all feed each other and will all build the company together and forward and up. And it's beautiful. So let's talk about Amazon dropshipping, because you said that you're teaching also. So what is in the business model of Amazon dropshipping? So people that use this DSM tool, they chose to start from eBay dropshipping, which is probably the best way to get started. And then when they already have the experience and the knowledge, I suggest people to start looking into different directions. How does it work with Amazon? What's the business model? How does it differ from eBay?
Okay. So with Amazon, there's so many different methods of actually selling. When it comes to drop shipping, there's pretty much like three primary ways. And one of them is private label drop shipping, which is what I pioneered. And it's kind of like doing everything you would do for Amazon FBA, creating listings, doing your titles, bullet points, product description, all that stuff. But you're not sending it into an Amazon warehouse. It's still coming directly from the supplier, but you're doing all the back end work to create a good listing. And then there's retail drop shipping, which what everyone knows at this level. You're drop shipping from Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, places like that, and that's against the terms of service. But if you know what you're doing, you can get away with it. You have to have an account that's seasoned, and there's certain methods, whatever. And then there's wholesale drop shipping, which people are migrating to over on eBay. It just at a different scale. With wholesale drop shipping on Amazon, the listings are already there, and they already have a really high sales rank. Same with the retail, listings. With eBay, you would be creating those listings and drop shipping from Walmart, Target, places like that. On Amazon,
Right.
those
This
listings
is what
already
this is
exist.
what you use software like DSM tool for, in order to create
Mhm.
those listings on eBay. And on Amazon, what you're saying is that when you want to add a product to your store, you don't exactly add your product to your store. You just go to a listing on Amazon and you say, I have this product too. I want to sell it. Here is my price, right? So I want to emphasize the difference between Amazon and eBay. On eBay, your store is kind of like your website. You can design the product description with templates. This is why we have templates in DSM tool. You can, and like when you list a new item, you put all of the product information. On Amazon, unless it's a new, right? I think it's
Yeah,
unless it's a new UPC that doesn't exist on Amazon, you're pretty much saying to Amazon is controlling the entire information about every one of the products. It's their catalog, and you can just join that catalog as a seller of that product. You can also try to change the information of the product, and you can like submit a request to change it, but it's
yeah,
very, very different from eBay. And in that sense, and I also want to refer to what you said about like using retailers, and this is something that we also talked about when we did a video on your channel, and we talked about the differences between Amazon to eBay, and we kind of realized it within the video, and I want to emphasize it. The difference between retail dropshipping, which is against policy both on eBay and Amazon, lays not in the fact that you're doing eBay dropshipping from retailers. I'm only talking about retailers. It lays in the difference of how you build your accounts when you start dropshipping on eBay, and how you build your accounts when you start dropshipping on Amazon. Because on eBay, when you're just starting, then you can dropship from wherever you want, and eBay doesn't ask you any questions whatsoever, and it's only when you decide that you want to scale that account. It's only when you make an enough amount of sales per day, let's say more than $1,000 sales per day, then eBay would ask you for the verification in a process called MC011, and that's when you're in trouble because you're dropshipping from retailers. Whereas on Amazon, how does the process work? When are you being verified? When are you do you have to prove your identity when you start dropshipping on Amazon?
You got to prove it before you can even sell. All right. So that's the whole thing. When you start an Amazon account, you have to submit all that documentation, like a driver's license or passport, a banking statement, utility bill, credit card statement, anything to let Amazon know that this is you. So they go through that whole verification process long before, you even get to sell.
And then when can you start dropshipping from retailers? Can
It
your first product already be retail dropshipping?
Now that Amazon has kind of changed things up with their algorithm, no, you're going to be waiting like a good 3 months before you can begin, drop shipping from retailers. Now, can you start drop shipping? Yes, you can, but you're going to have to do it a certain type of way. And typically, I recommend private label drop shipping for that because you're creating your own listings, and Amazon is far less likely to take a look at that. Or you could get in with wholesale, and that way you can get the contract. So if Amazon does ask for inventory, or they do an inventory check, you have these contracts and say, "Hey, I'm authorized," and you can submit that documentation and keep your account in good standing. Whereas with retail right now, it is very tricky and it's not necessarily fun. So you do need to have a little time.
And that's exactly the point. The whole game between eBay and Amazon is laid down into the verification process. On eBay, because you're being verified later on, then this is what allows you. Theoretically speaking, you're supposed to start the same way on eBay. You're supposed to start with wholesalers. And there is a niche now, a growing niche of wholesale dropshipping. I hope that we in DSM Tool will also develop technology for wholesale dropshipping in the future. And so you can start doing only that, but for that you will have to go through a process of getting wholesale certification, and maybe you will need some capital. So this and that's the point, because on Amazon you will have to go through that process, and on
Hmm.
eBay you don't have to go through that process. So you can start dropshipping from retailers, gain some capital, do it in low volumes, and look how beautiful it structures it. You start from eBay dropshipping from retailers, you make some capital. In the meanwhile, you learn about other more legitimate ways like wholesale dropshipping. So when you have that wholesale certifications, or think about it, if you're an international seller, you will have to incorporate a company in the United States and then get for that company wholesale certification, and then get agreements from wholesalers that will pass you the verification, and then you could both register to Amazon and start dropshipping on Amazon and pass the verification process called MC011 on eBay, because you will reduce your activity of retail dropshipping and you will start working more legitimately, for example, with wholesale dropshipping. And it allows you both to gain the capital and the knowledge that you need to understand if you want to get started. This is why start with eBay dropshipping, and to grow in new directions like Amazon dropshipping. This is an amazing thing that I'm so happy to tell people about, and I want to thank you for sharing that with me.
Oh, of course, man, of course.
So I'm moving to the actually, you know what? Let's talk a little bit more about Amazon dropshipping. How does product sourcing work, and what are the suppliers that are being used for retail dropshipping or not retail dropshipping or private label dropshipping when you do it on Amazon?
Okay, so with Amazon, when it comes to private label, typically everyone's going to Alibaba. That's just what it is. They're going to Alibaba, or they're finding other suppliers within the U.S. Like I have local suppliers here in Philly that build out products. Like I also have products that we build at my car shop at Speed Circuit. Like we have our own intakes, we have our own heat shields, we have our own spark plug covers, we have our own exhaust, we have all of our own products. So I can put those up and be like, hey, look, private label listings, boom, done, because it's my product or a product that I would find locally from a like an artisan supplier. They're like, hey, look, could you sell this for me? These teacups or something. Yeah, no problem. You know, the software that you would use for private label, things like Jungle Scout and AMZ Scout Pro. I prefer AMZ Scout, not just because I'm sponsored by them, but because the software does everything you need it to, and I feel that it's coded better and it's more true profits than with Jungle Scout. Jungle Scout always inflates the numbers, And when people get in, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to get this product. I'm going to make all this money." I'm like, "No, look at the actual sales volume." And AMZ Scout's more true to life.
Wait.
Now,
But correct. Before we go to which software is better, which is an interesting topic by itself, why do you at all need this software in order to? Because we're talking about people that have never heard
it's
about
true.
Amazon Dropshipping. It's the first time. Why do we even need that in the process? Because in eBay dropshipping, I always recommend using Zik Analytics, probably the number one software for market research on eBay. What's the story on Amazon? Like, how do you even approach that process of choosing what to sell?
Guys, you got to have software because you're not going to be able to get any of the sales data without it. Okay, so Amazon is a very cruel mistress, so to speak, where you can see top sellers on the first page. So it's kind of nice that way, but you're not going to see the actual sales volume. So you may be searching for a product that no one necessarily cares about, and then on the first page of the product that nobody cares about, you're like, "Oh, these sellers are doing really well." Well, those sellers may only be selling 2 or 3 items per month, but because they're actually selling, they get put on the first page for that particular search item. With software, you're going to be able to see that sales volume and if it's even worth your time. You need to see sales volume, you need to see profits, you need to see reviews per revenue. There's so many things that you need to know, and the only way to know that is by using the software. And obviously there's different types, and we can get into that, but software is going to be the way to research all of that, the metric data, and then suppliers as well, like where are these people getting these products from, and then posting and so on.
Interesting. So, but when people are like, as people are starting drop shipping, and you guys can see it, like there are so many similarities between eBay dropshipping or between eBay and Amazon because these are just two e-commerce platforms. Yes, there are differences and the verification process and yada yada, but eventually, here is the point. If you're starting with eBay dropshipping, taking the step forward and starting to dropship on Amazon, which is a platform that has so much more traffic on it, so many more buyers on it, is a very, very interesting step to consider. So thank you for sharing that. I want to also ask you, like, as a last question that I have for you for today is, you said that you're also a software engineer. Now, I know some software engineers that work for tech companies that are, headquartered in Silicon Valley and pay very, very nice salaries and, have very, very, very interesting and nice benefits. Why did you still choose, although knowing that you can grow yourself as a software engineer, why did you choose to go the entrepreneurial way, which is more risky, which you can harder, it's harder to scale into the same salary level? Why did you choose to go in that path?
Man, it's funny. I never really could see myself working for the next 40, 50 years to retire and live off 40 or 50% of my money and then die 10 years later. I just, to me, that didn't seem like a long-term plan. Does it work? Yes. Most software engineers I know, myself included, we had $100,000 salaries. We make plenty of money. We live very comfortable lives, but that life is tied to a company or to an industry that can chew you up and spit you out at a moment's notice. And you're pretty much capped on the amount of money that you can make. With entrepreneurship, I'm like, I can live the life that I want to live, and I can make infinitely more money if I apply myself and get things done accordingly. And it's not for everyone, guys. Entrepreneurship, despite what people say, is not fun all the time, and it's not for everyone. You have a lot of things to worry about. I have employees. They depend on me for their livelihood. They depend on me because they have to pay rent. They have mortgages. They have children to feed. They have all these things. So when you are the boss, guess what? All of that falls on you. If you don't work, you don't eat, and that's very difficult. But for me, that was the challenge, and I wanted to see what I could do. I'm like, can I make this work? Can I be the first millionaire in my family? Is it possible? And hey, guess what? I'm going to be the first liquid millionaire in my family. So, I mean, it worked out, but it doesn't always work out for everyone. But for me, I just knew that I didn't want to work for someone for the rest of my life and hope that, 10 years down the line, after I retired, that I'd be able to pick out a nice plot and just go over and die.
Mhm. So I just want to share this, and it's something that I would like to share with both with you, Reco, and with everyone else. When you are going to work, when if you apply and you get accepted to work in like big companies and you build yourself, honestly, there are people who are not entrepreneurs, who just work for a company, and they're able to become millionaires from it
Mhm.
because of how they structure their their path. I know people who have become millionaires by working for companies, especially if it's in the tech industry. This is very quickly growing relatively to other industries. This is why I see that as a software engineer. Having that said, first, not everyone has that opportunity, obviously. So a lot of people are interested in looking into entrepreneurship because it wouldn't have the glass ceiling that they would have because they don't have the profession. But more than that, just like you said, the thing with owning your own company, and especially if it's not funded by venture capital money, is that is that there is something that is more about just the money. It's about the people, the community that you build around you, the people that work for you, and the people that provide you services, and the people and your customers. That is a bigger responsibility, a bigger power on the one hand, but with big power comes big responsibility too. And not I vouch very much for the fact that it's not always fun and there are terrible moments in it, and yet I can totally agree with you on the fact that there is some magic into it with all of the part that isn't fun, and it's hard and it's risky, and and cool. Like what's the word? How do you say? Like I just think that you're taking making awesome choices, and I think that you have a story worth telling. So um, I want to thank you for coming to the on the channel and telling the story and sharing about other ways to make money online. I myself went on a journey after this dropshipping policy, and after I decided that our company will not go black hat and will not teach people how to engage in illegal activities. I went myself on a journey looking for experts, people like you, who could tell the communities like about other business models that they can build, but that would also be able to share with them stories like, I was a software engineer, but I looked for something different for my life, and I built it step by step, and then I was able to build my own business and scale it from there, and to have so many business activities like you have today, the YouTube channel and the done for you service and your Amazon accounts. I think it's remarkable. I think it's a story that people that are starting today, if you can if I would be starting today, I would want to believe that in 5 to 10 years I would be able to build step by step, really slowly, not in the next 60 days, not in the next 6 months, not in the next year, 5 to 10 years. When startups are raising capital from venture capitals, they're aiming to sell the company after 5+ years,
Yep.
because this is the golden number, the no number, at least from my knowledge in venture capital world, because it takes time to build a business, and you actually built a business, and that's a beautiful story, and it needs to be shared out there in this industry that I have a huge problem with, that is talking about make money really fast and yada yada yada, and without any risk, and everything is super legal. So in that industry, I'm so happy to host people that actually built a legitimate business, that is an awesome business, and that even started from eBay dropshipping. I couldn't ask for a better story to tell on the channel today. So again, thank you, and I really hope that we follow up with more content in the
Oh,
future. I would love to. So if those who are listening now, if you're still listening, that's the time for you to go and click the like button to promote Reko and his story because YouTube will then push up in the search results this video, and then comment and ask anything. Reko is very active in social media, and I'm sure that he would be happy to answer any questions that you have about Amazon dropshipping, about any of his businesses, generally about e-commerce, about any of his services. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, thank you very much, Reko.
Oh, yo, thanks for having me, Kiffer. Thank you, man. Have fun.